All right, y'all. Hey, it's Amber.
And Heather, welcome back.
Yay.
Or maybe this is your first time, and thank you for joining us if this is your first time. If it is your first time, this is our little space to talk to you about the truth in nutrition and exercise and try to just shed some light in a good way and darken and stamping out all of the bad mistruths out there in our industry. So if you haven't, you might want to check out some of our other podcasts because, we're pretty fantastic.
Yes. You'll miss something important.
You'll miss something important.
If you don't go back and listen.
Yes. Today, we're going to talk about recovery.
Yay.
And it's not that kind of recovery. It's body mechanics recovery.
Yes. Although the other form of recovery is wonderful.
Yes.
I have many friends in recovery.
Absolutely.
So
but we're not about that.
We're not talking about that today.
No. So we're talking about recovery and how your body needs time to rest. And a lot of people are like, well, my body rests all the time. That's part of the problem. That's where it got me here. I have rested too much. Well, in fact, that may be true. But if you're active, your body needs time to recover. Your muscles need time to regroup. Your joints, your body needs time to just, soak it back up. And a lot of people think, well, I sleep at night. Is that not enough recovery? No, not really. Because you also need to be stretching those muscles and those joints and flexing and getting all loose and relaxed. And not to mention that it helps your stress level.
Yes, it does.
Yes. So your body needs, there's lots of different kinds of recovery that we have to talk about. First, we're going to talk about yoga.
All right. So that's my cue.
That is
Amber's
because
turn.
I am not the yogi in our group. It's so funny. She's trying to get me to go over to the side of being a yoga instructor, and I am not going to ever say never, but I call myself the awkward yoga person, so I can do all of the yoga moves, but I am not going to vinyasa you and talk about becoming one with the earth. Not that that's bad, it's just not my jam. So I can stretch you and I can flex you and I can get you into all those poses. It's just going to be a little different. So yes, yoga is Amber's
forte
for sure.
If you know me, this might be hard for you to imagine, but I actually have a yoga voice.
Let's hear it.
A whole yoga persona. Okay, would you like me to put that on for you?
Please.
I would like for you to have a seat. Take a nice deep breath. Exhale, relax your shoulders. Drop them down away from your ears. Go ahead and roll all the way down onto the floor. You're going to stretch your legs out. Let your feet fall to the side. Arms go out, palms turned up. Give me another deep breath here. Exhale and allow your body to sink down into the floor beneath you. See, look at there. I can be quiet and relaxing.
Yes, you can.
I have been known to put some people to sleep.
I have heard this as well. Yes.
So I have a little magic for that. So let's talk about yoga. The type of yoga that we do at the training tool is more recovery yoga. We do relaxing yoga, a little bit more stretching, and mobility and flexibility work is incorporated in that as well. I've always joked and said, I work out. I don't want to do workout yoga. So, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I have taken power yoga classes. I've taught power yoga classes and they're great. And, there's people who love that. I do enough in my life that yoga needs to be a calming, relaxing activity for me. Yes. So that's what I like to do when I do yoga. Very basic poses, linking your breath with your movement, with your body movement. And that is one part that is really important is the deep breathing. That is so good for our stress release. And so many of us do that shallow chest breathing.
Right.
We're so
we don't have time for that.
Yes,
right?
we don't have time
for that. That's type A personality people. We've got plenty of other stuff to do than to worry about our deep breathing.
Yes, but it is actually something that really can calm your body systems down and just help you to relax. It lets your heart rate slow down a little bit, your respiratory rate slow down a bit. It helps you to get in a little bit more oxygen. When you're doing that shallow chest breathing, you're not getting in the oxygen that your body needs. So those deep breaths are wonderful for sure. So I love to do yoga as a relaxing part of my recovery work. And we do that too at the training tool for sure.
Yes.
Some other stuff, we have other classes, flexibility and mobility. And actually Heather and our other instructor, Jen, she's not here with us today, but they both teach that. So tell us a little bit about mobility and flexibility class and what you do in there.
So in our flex class, as we like to call it, we just don't walk around, flexing our muscles and stuff. We get a chance to actually sit down and probably manipulate our bodies in different ways that we wouldn't think about doing so, because we have typically, what are we doing if we're at a desk job? We're sitting all day and we get all what I call stoved up.
Yes.
And our hips get tight and our shoulders get tight because we're on the computer, or we're sitting behind a desk, or we're standing in front of a classroom or something. We have a lot of teachers. So a lot of times our bodies get tight, and when they get tight, they get a little bitter, is what I also like to refer it.
This is true.
So flexibility and mobility class helps to relax that. And then in tune, that helps decrease the stress level that you may have throughout your day. So I teach the clients on how to stretch and how to work different. Sometimes, they'll come and they'll say, like, my hips are tight. Can we work on hips? So we'll work through some different poses or movements, if you will. This is where I kind of get a little yoga-y and then not so much, to where you can kind of manipulate your body to help stretch your hip flexors and stretch your shoulders through your thoracic spine and just help to open up that upper body. Because a lot of times, people who have joint pain,
yes,
it's not necessarily joint related. They are just tight. The muscle group below or the muscle group above, wherever that pain is happening, is typically very tight, either from exercise or from sitting or standing or just day-to-day life if they've never done any kind of stretching or mobility work. And then once you just kind of help that release a little bit, then they're very surprised. They're like, oh, my knee stopped hurting, or oh, my ankle stopped hurting, or my hips. It's very interesting how the body is all interconnected, and how one part up in your low back can make your ankle hurt.
Yeah.
Or, one part in your low back can make your shoulder hurt, because you think about it, it's all just going to tighten up and it's just going to pull from either direction. So it's good to be able to help the whole body relax. And we also include foam rolling in those mobility and flexibility classes, and that just kind of helps the muscle fibers relax as well. We won't get into specific scientific reasoning behind it all, because I don't want to bore y'all, but it's just, our bodies need to be able, our muscles need to be able to relax, especially if you started working out. Because what's the one thing people always talk about when they first start a workout program is how sore they are.
Yes.
Right? Because you're breaking down those muscle fibers, and when they build back up, that's what makes them stronger. So a lot of times, if you need to be able to help those muscles relax a little bit more. So then typically, if you think about it, when you're sleeping through the night and you get up first thing in the morning, what hurts? Everything, right? You got a lot of popping and cracking. Your feet hurt, your ankles hurt, your hips are sore, or your low back is sore. And that's because you've laid in a static position. Although you probably think, I sleep all over the bed. That's still not movement enough. So if you are tight before you go to bed, and you go to bed, and you're going to wake up probably even more tighter than you were before you went to bed. You're like, where did this come from? So it's good to start practicing these stretches, like before you go to bed. And then there's some stretches that you can find as you wake up in the morning, and you will see, and it has been proven by my clients that have started regularly coming to mobility flexibility classes, that they do not hurt as much as they did before. Now, they're still just as active as they were, and we're still doing dynamic workouts in class, or they're doing something on their own. But that total, that body soreness that they were getting so tired of before has slipped away.
Right. And I want to share a story.
Oh,
this is
please
a
do.
personal story about Amber and Heather
Oh,
here.
let's share this personal story.
So Heather and I have started working out together, and as if she doesn't have enough time with me, she's spending even more time with me. So we are doing a strength training program. It's a progressive program, so we're working on adding weight each time we go, and it's definitely been a challenge.
It's challenging
for both of us.
Yes.
And so one day, Heather says to me, I know I'm going to be sore.
Yes.
Or actually, I think I said to you, I looked at her, I could see her legs shaking.
Yes, my
and
legs
I
are.
said,
See, I have come into this program halfway through. So Amber has already progressed to the halfway point. And here me, just running in, type A person. I'm just going to start in the middle, and I'm going to start where she is in the middle, right? Okay.
And keep in mind, being the great trainers that we are, I'm like, let's put your weight down a little bit more. Because I have been doing this now for like 6-7 weeks. And she's like, no, I'm fine. I'll do that weight that you have on there. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I look over there and her little legs are shaking on this one. And I said, oh, Heather, you're going to be so sore tomorrow. So she goes, yeah, I probably am going to. So the next day we meet up. Of course, we're at the studio together. So we're chatting. And I said, hey, you sore today? Now my hamstrings, I can already feel them. And she goes, no, not really. I mean, I feel a little bit, but nothing hardly at all. She goes, but ask me what I did. I'm like, what did you do, Heather? So that night she went home. She foam rolled. She used our little red lacrosse ball that we have. And she also got in the bath and did an Epsom salt bath, and she did some stretching. And she goes, what did you do? And I just smiled because I'm like, nothing, like always.
Right.
So she's so much better. She and my husband both are so good at their stretching and foam rolling. My husband foam rolls every night before we go to bed. So, and I am terrible. And I'm like, this is the one thing I harp on my clients. We harp on people. And now
you've got to
Heather
practice
harps
what you preach.
I know, I'm trying.
And it's so true. So that's exactly what I did. I knew that this was different movement for me. Now, I'm strong and I can do weights and stuff, but it's not been in this type of movement pattern that my body is experiencing. So I knew what I was going to have. Now, let's go back to the Epsom salt. So talk about recovery. Magnesium is a good mineral to use as far as recovery goes because it helps to tell me.
It does help with muscle repair and relaxation.
Yes, muscle repair. Thank you. That's what I was like. I lost all my words. It just kind of sucked out. So I soak in it rather than taking it orally. You can take magnesium, to help if you have muscle soreness, but I like a good bath at the end of the day. So I am a firm believer. You hear you talking about, the old grandma getting home from her day at, whatever, and she's soaking her feet in the Epsom salt. But you need to be all up in the Epsom salt bath every night before I go to bed. I soak. That's just my thing. If people know about 7:30 is when, because I get up very early, so I go to bed pretty early. So about the 7:30 to 8 o'clock mark, Heather is going to be in the bathtub soaking in her Epsom salt. So I knew as soon as I got home, it was about lunchtime. Of course, I'm not going to take my bath then. I start foam rolling. And then I get the lacrosse ball out and I'm working the really hard areas that I know that we targeted that day. And then I did some stretching. I made sure that I drank plenty of water because that's also a part of recovery, not to mention just good everyday life health. But that night I soaked, and then when I got up the next morning, I was not nearly as sore as I knew that I could have been had I not done anything just like Amber did. So fast forward to the next set of whatever it was we were doing. I don't remember what it was we were doing, but it was again, and so I guess it was a different set of lower body stuff that we were doing. It was
a different day.
Yes, and so I'm at home again. I go home and instantly I'm foam roll. So I text Amber. I'm like, ask me what I'm doing right now.
I was like, dang you! I know what you're doing. You're being good. Well, I rolled last night. Good. We have a R8.
Yes.
So it looks like little wheels.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and you roll it, you
Yes.
split it open and put it
Yes.
on the muscle and
Yes.
roll it. But my knee was bothering me last night, and so I knew. What did it feel like? It felt like the muscle was just super tight and just
Yes.
pulling on my joint. So
Yes.
I said, okay, I have to foam roll this. And my friend bought me, bless her heart, my friend that runs with me, she bought me a foot massager, so I used that too.
yes.
It was so nice. And it is.
Yes.
I tried to do some of my deep breathing, to relax
Right.
before bed. That's a wonderful habit to get into.
It is.
And it doesn't have to be like a whole hour. You
No,
can just do 5 or 10
15
minutes.
Yes,
Or
that's what I tell
keep
people.
it short.
Target the area that's really bothering you,
Yeah.
upper, above it or below it, and then that way you'll get the whole. You don't have to do a whole body
Right.
foam roll or stretch all of the time.
No.
It's just not that important. And so here, let me tell you. If you have sore feet problems, a good water bottle, frozen or not, is a good thing to roll across the bottom of your feet. You can use tennis ball if you do not have a lacrosse ball. Even a softball will work on the floor or on the wall, so you don't have to get down. So I have dogs.
Yes.
So when I
They
get
love
down
the
on
ball.
the floor, they get up all of my business.
Yep.
And so sometimes being able to work vertical and standing up against the wall will also is highly recommended.
That is helpful.
Yes,
I get
is.
lots of kisses when
Yes,
I'm on the
lots
floor.
of yes. What are you doing down here? And then I got one that likes to paw me when I'm so they're all up in my grill.
That is so funny.
It is.
And our big girl likes to lay on. So if I'm lying down,
Yes, she's gonna be
she'll
right up
come
against
put
you.
her body against mine and lay down. So then I can't stretch.
You can't stretch
It's
because you got no room.
the way,
So it's
baby
just
girl.
it's again, if there's a will, there is a way.
This is true.
So you can't say it's so funny. This is one of my biggest pet peeves is when somebody tells me I don't have time.
Yes.
We all have the same 24 hours in a day. It's
Yes.
what you choose to do with it is what's important to you.
This
so
is true.
if it's not important to you, then you're not going to do it. So don't tell me you can't or you don't have time. So
I know.
yes, just do it before you go to bed.
Sometimes it's shifting your priorities around,
Yes.
or even just carving out that little bit of time.
Right.
We have to make the habit, and when you first start these things, you don't have a habit in
No.
place.
Yes.
So I always have people set reminders, like put a timer on your
Put a
phone,
timer on
something
your
like
phone.
that the alarm that dings that
Yes.
reminds you go do your phone
Recovery.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But recovery is so important, and that is something that when you are strength training and you are breaking down the muscles like you were talking about earlier, you have to get appropriate quality sleep.
Yes.
Because when we sleep is when our muscles repair.
That's when they build.
Yes.
That's right. It's not built in the bed.
Yes, it is built in the bed. It is. And then also, so making sure that you've fueled yourself well, you've put enough protein in there so that they can build. The hydration is huge with that. The rest, and then recovery so that your body is ready to go again. And this is why you don't want to just hammer your body and do high intensity, or a really hard strength training workout. You and I did not do that. We worked out Monday,
Yes.
we skipped Tuesday, we went Wednesday, we
Right.
skipped Thursday, Friday, we're going to go tomorrow on
Yeah.
Saturday. So you've got to give your body that time to recover. But if you're not doing the stretching, the foam rolling, the mobility work, then your muscles don't ever get that relaxation.
No.
So this is something that's really important for making your body feel its best.
Yes.
For sure.
Then you're all hunched over and stoved up and
Yes.
yes.
And the thing with the joints, the mobility in your joints is so important too.
Yes.
As we age, this is one of the things, ankle mobility
Oh,
is really
yes.
interesting when
Yes.
you look at people who are aging. So that's going to affect your squat form. And think about it. Sitting down to go on the toilet is squatting.
People
That
tell
is-
me all the time, I don't squat. I can't squat today because so-and-so is bothering me. And I'm like, did you sit down in your car to come here?
Yes.
Did you sit down on the toilet this morning when you so you're squatting. You really are.
Yes, and that is a basic activity of daily
Yes.
living, a BADL.
Yes.
And if you can't do a BADL, that is not good.
That is not good.
So when we look at that ankle mobility as people age, when they're not working on that,
Yes.
it affects their squatting, and then it also affects their walking.
Yes.
And that is a basic activity of
Right.
daily living as well.
Yep, and their balance.
Yes.
So then they fall. So that'll go into a whole nother podcast.
Right.
But yeah, so all of it goes back to being balanced in your body.
Yep. And so your workout plan, your fitness plan needs to incorporate recovery days or some recovery times, like you were saying, to do it before bed. Whatever you work out for you, it's got to be in there somewhere.
And you really do need a rest day.
Absolutely.
A lot of times I really promote 2, but sometimes that's just not the way it works out. It works out. You need to you have to have one. There has to be one day of no specific exercise.
Complete rest.
Yes, happening. And that doesn't mean you just lay on your butt in bed all day, unless that's just something that you just desire to do. But I can't live that life. So, it's hard. So, and again, a lot of times, all of the stuff that we have talked about has to do with discipline. Yeah. And it can be just as a major discipline factor to rest as it is to do. Right. So that'll be again, I keep coming to these topics. We could talk all day about some of this stuff, but the recovery is just super important in the long term. Mm-hmm. So, and we've been preaching since we started here, you need to be doing stuff that you can do long term. Yes. Anything that you're just trying to get to the next whatever is not going to help set you up for forever.
Right. For long-term success.
Yes.
That's what we're here for. Your long-term health, long-term success.
Yes.
So if you are in a position where you are able to go sit down and do some stretching and recovery work, we are encouraging you to go do that now. And if not, please set an alarm on your phone right now and remind yourself to do it later when you do have a moment.
There you go.
So thanks, Heather, for sharing that with us. We so appreciate you for listening to us. And if you're new here, make sure you go back and listen to us from the beginning. We've covered some really awesome topics.
So many good stuff already.
Yes. So subscribe,
follow,
share, tell others about us, and we will be so thankful to you for that.
Yes, we appreciate you listening.
Yes. And until next time, we will see you again soon.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.